What's up, control freaks, and welcome to the 51st episode of the Control Freak podcast. I am your host, Les Alex, and today I am joined by
Hey, everybody.
Adam Cohen. What's up?
Alex, thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining me tonight. If you're watching this live on twitch.tv/LesAlex, thanks for hanging out. If you're listening to this on the podcast app, thanks for clicking and downloading it. And of course, you can watch this on YouTube as well. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Of course, before we get started, I just want to tell you what we're talking about today. If you clicked on the video, if you clicked on the podcast, you know we are talking everything March of the Machine. Spoilers, previews, all the fun stuff, all the cards, all the goodies have been previewed finally by Wizards of the Coast. So we are going to be talking about their viability in all the formats that we cover here on the podcast, which is Modern, Pioneer, Explorer, maybe a little historic. Probably won't dig too deep on the arena on the arena side of things, but still super stoked to have everyone here. What's up, Jo and Cryptic Rocket? Before we get into the podcast, though, I do want to do a little bit of housekeeping. Thanks, everybody, over on Patreon. If you want to support the content directly, give me all your money every month. That'd be great. But no, seriously, it really does mean the world to me that there are folks over there that are checking it out and super interested in the podcast. Hit up patreon.com/LesAlex if you want to check out all the perks and, of course, help support the show. And as a reminder, the podcast can be found on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, Stitcher, and basically wherever you download your podcasts, as well as YouTube podcasts, which is a new thing that I just learned about last week. So, yeah, super exciting stuff. And as we just introduced, Adam, where can folks find you on the internet?
So you can find me on Twitch at AceXSpades and on Twitter at Adam E. Cohen. I stream occasionally, going back to a regular schedule in the near future, but typically Sunday afternoons. You can catch me live at twitch.tv/AceXSpades.
Excellent. That is where you can find him. Super stoked to get into this one. This is an episode that we've done several of these, obviously many moons ago, but you are a good guest to have on for these kind of episodes because I think you're you called Uro. I remember what set was that from? I know everybody called Uro, but I just kind of looked over it and was like, yeah, but look at this Croxa card. And you're like, no, but Uro, we need to talk about Uro.
It literally brought the end of the world.
Right. God, that's set. Oh my gosh. So let's jump in. We've got a ton of cards that we're going to be talking about tonight. So without further ado, let's jump into this one. Again, thanks everybody for hanging out with us. All right. So here's how we're going to do this. If you're watching on YouTube, you can or Twitch, you can kind of follow along as we go. First off, I want to talk about Fibblethip or Borborygmos and Fibblethip. I called it. On Twitter, I was like, wouldn't it be sick if Borborygmos found Fibblethip? And sure enough, he did. And this card is sick. So I feel like at this point, people know these cards, but if you don't, it's a 5 mana, so 2 and what is this? Teamer colors?
Yeah, it's Teamer.
6/5 mythic rare Cyclops Homunculus, which is hilariously redundant, but sure. Because aren't Homunculuses just miniature size Cyclopses?
I think they're supposed to be like artificial humans, but I think magic homunculi are all one eye. At least Ravnica ones are.
Right.
And you
anyways, whenever
doing his best.
Yeah, right. Just like pointing, like charging him into battle. Anyways, when it enters the battlefield or attacks, which is very important, draw a card. Then you may discard any number of land cards. When you discard one or more cards in this way, it deals twice that much damage to target creature. And then you can play generic in blue, put Borborygmos and Fibblethip on top of its owner's library, third from the top. So it kind of does a little Teferi Hero of Dominaria impersonation. It gets lost like Thibblethip does. What are your thoughts on this silly guy?
So first and foremost, I have a fully foiled promo proxied 4 and black bordered version of Borborygmus Must Enrage. The entire commander deck completely tricked out. I love adding a blue pip so I can play all the good mana drains,
all the good cards. Yeah.
I think this card is pretty solid. Great stat line for 5 mana. It immediately draws you a card and then can translate that into removal with a way of protecting itself. So your finisher is really hard to actually remove from the opponent's side of the field.
Absolutely. And I mean, if you discard 2 cards with this thing, I mean, that's great. And the fact that it can do it every single attack, and I mean, its stats are obviously pretty darn good. 6/5 for 5 is no joke. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how serious this will be in like Pioneer or anything. I just wanted to point it out because A, I called it, and B, it's Borborygmus and Thibblethip. Like, come on. It's awesome.
2 things I definitely want to point out. The first being that this is in Ren and 6 colors and it cares about lands. And the second thing is this is a 3-color card in a format where evoke elementals. Exactly.
Yeah, it can pitch. That's true. Holy smokes. Is this going to be a thing in Modern?
Probably not. But I really want
not only a dream?
Aspiring Spike will figure something out.
Yeah, right? Either Doomwake or Spike. Yeah, this is sick. I love that it's like pretty decent too. Moving on though, we've got a card that I know when I saw, I was pretty stoked for. Let me get back to multicolor for a second. It is the Invasion, and everybody do the meme, tilt your head, because we don't have the technology to tilt it back. But this is Invasion of New Phyrexia. So this is, of course, we got to talk about the siege-sized elephant in the room, the new card type battles. So this is X colorless blue battle dash siege. It's a mythic with 6 health. What are we calling that? It's not loyalty.
Defense counters.
Anyway,
I think
battle counters.
Defense counters. I'm pretty sure.
Defense counters. So yeah. So when it enters the battlefield, you create X 2/2 white and blue night creature tokens with vigilance. And then when it flips to the back, you get Teferi Akosa of Zhalfir. This is a 4 loyalty planeswalker with +1. Draw 2 cards and discard 2 cards unless you discard a creature. -2, you get an emblem with knights, get +1/+0, and have ward 1. And then -3, tap X creatures you control. When you do, shuffle target non-land permanent and opponent controls with mana value X or less into its owner's library. Lot to unpack with this card. So I will say off the rip,
a card exactly like this in Kamigawa and Neon Dynasty, but it gave your opponent 2/2s as well.
So this is just the one-sided version of that, minus flipping into a planeswalker. Seems decent. And the fact that this, obviously it flips into a planeswalker, this is a very, in my opinion, snowbally kind of mechanic. Because if you ever flip this thing, it's already pretty decent on the battle side. But if you flip this bad boy, holy smokes, I feel like you're in Magic Christmas land at that point.
I think 9 times out of 10, you're going to evaluate the battles as if they are sorceries and probably not going to try to flip them. But the option to flip this into a planeswalker were already, like, you've put so many bodies on the board. So your planeswalker is just naturally going to be defended.
Yeah. No, I definitely feel that. I don't know. I will say I am a bit critical of the fact that Teferi now makes knights and is like very creature focused. That kind of bums me out as like a very staunch control player that hates playing creatures. But with that being said, we do have Wandering Emperor in Pioneer and in Modern. So Yeah, I know, and I know that there was the one that made the illusion tokens or whatever, but I don't know. They're just leaning more into attacking matters.
Oh no, that's a fairy. Yeah, yeah.
What's that?
Oh, I got
yeah.
confused with the AFR one.
Oh yeah.
The one that
I
needs like
just.
the dogs. Yeah, there's a Teferi spirit token generator.
Oh yeah. They yeah. Oh, Morikadan or whatever his name is. That's the one
Yeah.
you're thinking of. But yeah, Teferi making creatures again, being very focused on things that are on the battlefield, creatures that are on the battlefield. I don't know. I like my Teferis to draw me a card and tuck things. But I think that this is going to be pretty awesome in standard for sure. I think the fact that it's a mythic rare, I think they are very afraid of maybe breaking things with these. But
Like historically speaking, like every time they introduce a new like card type,
just
you get
ruin
Smuggler's
Magic.
Copter, you get the Mirrodin equipment. Like every single time we get a new one, there's just a busted one. I think this might be that one.
Oh yeah. Yep. And I think there might be another one as we go down, but we are starting in the multicolors, by the way, if you're wondering which how we're kind of attacking this. The multicolor ones are the sweet ones, in my opinion, like the super fun ones. All right, next up, I wanted to talk about Zurgo and Ojutai, the team up that nobody saw coming. This is a 5 mana, so 2 generic Jeskai colors for a 4/4 legendary creature, Orc Dragon, flying haste. When it has hexproof as long as it entered the battlefield this turn. Very interesting sentence of text there. And whenever one or more dragons you control deal combat damage to a player or battle, look at the top 3 cards of your library, put one of them into your hand and the rest on the bottom in any order. And you can return one of those dragons to your hand. So it has the old school Ojutai text of it gets to anticipate, and it has hexproof, which is very similar to the old Ojutai as well. And then it has haste. I guess haste is the ability for Zurgo. Not very Zurgo centric in this card, but it's a 4/4 if I didn't mention that. I'm stoked about this because I just want to do Jeskai Dragons and Pioneer just as a meme. And with another card we're going to be talking about later, I think this is going to be really sick. What do you think about Zurgo and Ojutai?
So like the joke here is that you can dash it, right? That's the Zurgo part of it.
Yep.
And as long as it's being dashed, it is hexproof. So
Yeah.
you can theoretically just cast this, smack them for 4, draw a card off of it, put it back in your hand to hide it away. And so if your opponent can't interact with this on the stack, or doesn't have access to like an edict that will kill the Zurgo Ojutai, this card is a real clock that they can't interact with.
Yeah.
It's very good.
And it just so happens that we did just get a very good edict. So I'm sure that'll come into play, in standard. And I mean, even in Pioneer, I see a lot of, what is that? The edict, whatever the name of the new edict. Yeah, Shieldred's edict. But still, yeah, I mean, this is going to be fun to brew around. I'm super stoked. Both of these characters are really cool too, if you care about the lore at all. I know this isn't a lore podcast, but check it out. It's pretty cool. Was there any that you wanted to talk about in the multicolor aspect? I've got quite a few more. So,
yeah, I think Jeru and Hazaret's one of the ones I really wanted to talk about, and we have it right up here.
Yeah, get into it.
So as long as you have 1 or fewer cards in hand, the creature has vigilance and haste. It's also a 5/4 human god for 2 red, white. When it attacks, look at the top 6 cards of your library. You can exile a legendary creature from among them, put the rest on the bottom in a random order, and then until end of turn, you can cast that card without paying its mana cost.
You can cast that card. You get to cast it.
So this is insane because we've seen Winota get banned in Pioneer.
Yep.
We've seen it be a powerhouse in Standard, and we've seen it be a competitive EDH deck for people that love CDH.
Yeah.
This card slots into that deck, and it works extremely well because it's a human that Winota can find, and then it can conversely find you a Winota if you need it in the other direction there.
Well, And
then
this just finds like Emrakul, right? Like
yeah,
in Modern or in even Pioneer, it finds the Emrakul that you can take their turn.
yeah.
So
You can do so much with this. It works perfectly with why am I blanking on Goryo's Vengeance?
yep.
Those decks with
Oh
Atraxa
God.
in particular are
Yeah.
doing fairly good and broken things. I think that this is a really strong combo card.
Yeah, this card is sick. And it's a human.
It's a human.
Why is it? I mean, I know why it's a human, literally because Daruju, but oh my gosh, it's a human, and humans are already amazing.
And if you want to talk about that lore a little bit, so in the events of Hour of Devastation, Hazaret is the only god that lives,
Yeah.
and then also has her arm ripped off. You can see that she's got the Lazatep arm, so she like
Oh, that's
found the
sick. I didn't
zombie
even
arm
notice
and just
that.
slapped it on. She pulled a Naruto
Yeah,
and
right.
just got her zombie arm attached in.
That
Love
is
it.
so sick. Yeah. This card, it's gonna be sweet. It's gonna be sweet. All right. So moving on down the line, let me take a look what I had next. Invasion of Tolvada. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Anyway, it's 5
Yeah.
mana, 3 and Orzhov. It is 5 health. When it enters the battlefield, return target non-battle permanent card from your graveyard to the battlefield for 5 mana. And keep in mind, it's got a backside that says the Broken Sky. It's an enchantment. Whenever tokens you control get +1/+0, or creatures tokens you control get +1/+0 and have lifelink, at the beginning of your end step, create a 1/1 flying white and black spirit token with flying. I just wanted to point this out because this on rate for what this does, reanimating things, that costs 5 mana just as is. Like, that's just a 5 mana thing to do now.
And it's a blinkable permanent.
And it's, oh, Jesus. Yeah, you're right. Because you still control all the battles.
Yeah.
So that's pretty hot. And then if you flip it, obviously that's just a cherry on top of the cake. But I just wanted to point this out. I don't know how serious this is going to be in any formats that I really care about or that the listeners care about. But I just wanted to say on rate, this is right on rate with everything that is, but it has just added upside. All right, moving on. I wanted to talk about Omnath, Locus of All, mainly just because we finally have the 5-color Omnath. They're completing a lot of cycles in the last couple sets.
My boy.
Yeah. He came from
boy.
such humble beginnings of being a green mana, just mono green colored Omnath, Locust God. And not, well, not a god, but now he is the Locus of All. He got corrupted. And yeah, I mean, I'm not going to really talk about this much unless you think we should, but
no, I don't think that this card's all that playable. It's just really cool.
Yeah, it's just super dope. Yeah. Moving on down the line, I did want to talk about Yargle and Multani because, of course, they just slapped the two together and doubled it. And Yargle and Multani is what is this? 6 mana. So
black, green for 6.
18/6, and it's vanilla. And you can fling this at your opponent and do funny stuff.
In limited, we have a Splinter Twin situation. There's that vampire that can back up too. So you can make this a 20 power creature and then fling it.
Oh, yeah. And then we have a card that had quite a bit of buzz around it whenever it first got spoiled or previewed or whatever. You want to talk about the Halo?
Yeah. So we've been going back and forth on this right now because Twitter has not figured out whether or not this can cast 0 mana spells.
I don't think it can.
Like the wording as it's written, it makes it seem like you can pay X as X equals 0. Yeah. But the what was the Oracle rulings or whatever are saying you have to pay mana into it. So I think how good this card ends up being is directly determined by whether or not you can cast Crashing Footfalls or Glimpse of Tomorrow.
I think I saw somebody that said you couldn't cast suspend cards off of it. But obviously, this is just a fun kind of Snapcaster variant. Obviously, it doesn't have flash or anything, but this kind of seems more intuitive than the way that they did Snapcaster the first time. But yeah, very fun card. Has flying, and it's a fairy, so any tribal fairy tribal folks, that's a good one to keep your eye on if
and
you like fairies.
For our prowl enjoyers.
Yeah, right. What did we have next? Oh, okay.
I think we had Invasion of Urgamon, the red-green one there.
Yeah,
so front side is red and a green for 2-mana battle with 5 defense counters. When it comes into play, you create a treasure token, and then you can discard a card if you do draw a card. So it's a thing that works with Indomitable creativity, and they can flip into a 3/4 with.
Oh yay! Because that deck needs more gas. And then on this backside, Truga Cliff Charger 3/4. It has trample. When Truga Cliff Charger enters the battlefield, you may discard a card. If you do, search your library for a land or battle card, reveal it. If you return it, put it in your hand, then shuffle. Yeah, I mean, front side on rate's pretty decent.
I'm not complaining. I don't know if it's going to see play, but certainly interesting. It has potential with certain interactions that are popular in other formats. So we'll see.
Yeah, most definitely. I had another one, Invasion of
New Capenna, I think. Here we go. Oh, one more up above the shield top light. There you go. The red-black, I think. Down one row.
Oh, there it is. Okay, yeah. Is this the one? Invasion of New Capenna, white and a black, 4 health. When it enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice an artifact or creature. If you do, exile target artifact or creature an opponent controls. And it's got 4 health. It flips into Holy Frazzle Cannon. Jeez. Whenever equipped, it's an artifact equipment with an equip cost of 1. Whenever equipped creature attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on that creature and each other creature you control that shares a creature type with it.
So I think
that is a big old cannon in Magic. What's that?
I think I was the one that put this on the list.
Yeah.
So the red-black sacrifice deck with the most recent Pro Tour, I think it was, or whatever, some large event. I know
it was a Pro Tour. Yeah.
Yeah. Brought a Mardu version of the red-black sacrifice deck with Mayhem Devil, Onicolt Anvil. And Rite of Oblivion is a card that has that same line of text: sacrifice a non-land permanent, exile a thing that has flashback. So similar kind of card, but because that deck wants to go wide, making the tokens from Onicolt Anvil, the backside's also really interesting because that can anthem your team. And it's fairly easy to shoot this down with a Mayhem Devil trigger. You only need 4 triggers off of Cat Oven. That's 2 cycles. So it seems like a side grade. I'm not sure if it would see play over that, but certainly an interesting card to test out there.
Absolutely. Let's move on if there's no other multicolored cards. Oh yeah, Crookside. That was on the list. Yeah, if you want to talk about that real quick.
6/6 Vigilance Menace Lifelink, 3 red, white, black. When it enters the battlefield or attacks, you may exile 5 cards from your graveyard. When you do, return target creature from your graveyard to the battlefield. This is a 2-card combo with Altar of Dementia. You do not need a second copy of it because it is a reflexive trigger. So Crookside comes in, you sacrifice it with its trigger on the stack. You can then reanimate itself. It exiles 5 cards, but it mills you 6. So you can Hogak your opponent, and then with the final trigger, you can get back Thassa's Oracle or whatever self-mill win condition you have decided to play in the deck.
The cheese. The cheese is real.
And then the backup plan is a 6/6 Vigilance Menace Lifelink that reanimates creature.
Seems pretty decent. And then Thalia and the Gritrog monster. I just wanted to point this out because it's hilarious, the art, if you guys haven't seen it yet. It's literally Thalia riding the Gitrog monster in the middle of Innistrad, and holy smokes, card seems pretty sweet too for standard, and I'm sure Commander will love that card. Let's move on to the white though, because we only have so much time tonight, and we're talking about a ton of cards.
Away from me.
What's that?
Take this away from me. My brain's doing too many things.
All right, so here is Archangel Elspeth. She has ascended to become an angel. We learned in the story that her home plane is actually New Capenna, where angels become like humans or something. I don't know the story all that well. Anyway, let's talk about this card. 4 mana for 2 generic and 2 colorless, 4 loyalty. It is a mythic rare. +1. Create a 1/1 white soldier creature token with lifelink. -2. Put 2 +1/+1 counters on target creature. It becomes an angel in addition to its other types and gains flying. And then -6. Return all non-land permanent cards with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. I know a lot of people are kind of underwhelmed by this, but I'm just putting it out there. I'm putting it on wax. Adam, I'm putting it on wax. This card is very good.
I think it's solid. It's a callback to Elspeth Knight Errant. This will be the second best 4 mana planeswalker, or sorry, second best 4 mana white planeswalker in every format it's legal.
You think?
The second
Zendikar. Ally Zendikar is better.
Oh no, Wandering Emperor is.
Oh yeah, okay. Wandering Emperor is. That's the Bay. That's my Bay. But yeah. I think this card is going to be very good. I think that this character, there are obviously exceptions to this rule, but when they do this character, it's typically pretty good. I know in standard, the one from New Capenna sees play. I don't know a whole lot about standard, but I do know there is a mono white mid-range deck that is very good. I can only imagine that middle ability is going to be nutty. The fact that it just perpetually gains flying is insane. And you get to put the 2 counters on it. You can basically play this in Jumpman, kind of like, what was the name of that Ajani? It was a 3 mana Ajani that just, you could jump a thing. And Boros, or not Boros, but what was that? It was a zoo deck in standard where they used it. Anyways, and obviously -6, whatever, like you get to do the Sun Titan thing. But the fact that the tokens have lifelink, it's pretty good. I think this card is going to surprise people. I know people are saying that, oh my gosh, this one's kind of mediocre. I think this card's going to be very good. And yeah, that's my hot take.
They'll beat me in limited.
So you are not of the
standard, probably. I think it's fine. Like it's your bread and butter planeswalker. 4 mana, a bunch of loyalty. Takes up to make a small body. I think it's fine. I'm whelmed.
You're not as high on it as I am. That's fine.
I'm firmly whelmed.
Next up, I did want to talk about Monastery Mentor, because this is a card I absolutely adore and have played it in Modern many times in the sideboard of my Azorius control decks. Obviously, this is legal in Pioneer. I actually had to look that up. I was like, is this card legal in Pioneer or not?
Forged. It's one of like 5 cards that sees play from Fate Reforged.
Yeah, so this card is legal in Pioneer. However, it doesn't see play in any capacity, really. It is a very good card. I didn't want to touch on it just because it's an exciting card to me. We have, okay, Invasion of Gabokhan. Okay, where's this? Yes, here it is.
There you go.
So this is, in my opinion, this could be the best battle. It could be.
I agree.
Obviously, I've never played with battles, so who knows? But
it's definitely like top 3, I think.
Yeah,
there's a green one that's pretty good, but this is definitely constructed playable.
Yeah, so 2 mana, 3 defense counters.
Yeah.
When it enters the battlefield, look at target opponent's hand. You may exile a non-land card from it. As long as that card remains exiled, the owner may cast it. And they have to pay 2 generic extra. And then on the back side, Lightsteed Array. And it's an enchantment. At the beginning of your end step, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature that attacked this turn, and then you can sacrifice it. Creatures you control gain hexproof, but wait, there's more. Indestructible until end of turn. Holy smokes, this is my worst nightmare as a control player. It's very good. It does the Paulo Vitor Dama de Rosa thing where you just you have to pay 2 extra. What's the name of that card?
Elite Spellbinder. I was going to quiz you on that. Like, do you know who it was made for?
Yeah, it was Paulo. Dude, yeah. I think this card's very good. I think, this is definitely going to see play. This gives white a Thoughtseize style effect.
Yeah. This is the cheapest we've seen this effect. There's a removal spell that does the same thing. But this is a proactive thing because it can put itself in the graveyard. You can work with what's the creature with revolts? 1 green white for a 3/2 Renegade Rallier.
Oh yeah.
So you can like pick this back up with Renegade Rallier.
Oh my god.
This card's very good.
Yeah. And of note, this is where Teo is from, the Planeswalker Teo, for all you lore enthusiasts.
You know the best part about this plane? Like, it is described as being a god-awful place to live. There are 2 giant sandstorms made of diamond dust that just like shred everything into like itty-bitty pieces. Everyone has like shield magic powers, like Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
And when the Phyrexians invaded, all the cards just like, hey, we can let nature do its job. We just have to like sit here.
That is great. And that is Invasion of Gabokon. I think this could be the best in battle. We'll move on.
Good.
We'll move on though. This is this one I want to talk about is Sunfall. This is a 5-mana sorcery. It's rare. It's 3 generic 2. Exile all creatures. That alone is on rate pretty good for a standard playable card. And the fact that it exiles indestructible nonsense, get out of here. We don't care. Go to the graveyard abilities. Be gone. But wait, there's more. Incubate X, where X is the number of creatures exiled this way. Holy smokes, this card is pretty darn good. This is maybe the best sweeper in Commander ever.
Definitely up there. Phyrexian Rebirth, right?
Yeah. Very similar.
Same thing, but costs 1 more and it just gives you the creature outright.
Yeah.
I actually like this better because the token dodges your opponent's removal and then you can flip it whenever you are like finally able to do it or want to do it.
Yeah, whenever you're ready. Yeah, and I mean, this card's sick. I would even try this. I would say this is a front runner for, I always like to make like top 5 best like control cards in Pioneer. I think this might be a front runner for that. I'm not saying that it's like a staple, but if you want the exile ability, I could see this seeing play. I'm not saying that you put this in every single version of control in Pioneer, but I could see you wanting this in certain versions of the deck. And with that being said, do you have anything else to say about Sunfall before we move on to the card right next to it?
Third best Wrath effect, period.
What's that?
I would put that maybe like third best Wrath effect, period.
Yeah.
You got Verdict, you got Settle, and then I think this. Like, it's a really, really good card.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's the exile all creatures is huge, and the fact, like you said, it doesn't just make a dude. You can set it up, which obviously lends itself to being good in control decks. Like, you get to choose when the thing happens. So, but just to the right of it, this might be the best card for Pioneer control in the whole set. This is Elspeth Smite. Oh, I'm very high on this card. One white instant for an uncommon. Elspeth Smite deals 3 damage to target attacking or blocking creature. If that creature would die this turn, exile it instead. This is Smitening Bolt. I saw somebody call it that on Twitter, and I do not take credit for it, but Smitening Bolt, the art is excellent. My thought behind this is if you are opposed to laydown arms, which I know there are still control mages out there that are opposed to the laydown arms because it messes up your mana base or whatever they say. It really doesn't. It really doesn't. It makes some things, a little bit trickier to cast, I guess, but it really doesn't come up that much just because you have to play more basics. But if you don't want to play that, I would highly suggest trying this because obviously Laydown Arms is a sorcery. This is an instant. It hits most of the creature lands that you would want to hit. And I think this card's going to be sick. I don't know if it'll be a staple or anything. I'm not willing to go on and go that deep on it, but I do think this card is worth testing. And if you are worried about creature lands, this could be the one. What are your thoughts?
Very, very good. I don't know if you're the expert here.
I want to go that far, but
I mean, are blue white control decks still playing like Seal Away or anything like that, or did Boseiju make that go away forever?
Yeah, COA kind of went away when March of Otherworldly Light came into the fray.
Oh yeah,
rhymed, which was weird.
I think this card's solid. Definitely like a sideboard thing against like red black mid range. They have a lot of like X3s or lower. It's fine. It's good 1 mana removal spell. Hard to dispute. I'm into it.
Yeah, I like it, and the fact that it exiles is obviously super important, especially in Pioneer.
Oh yeah, the mono white aggro deck having access to Extraction Specialist to get back their like Luminarch Aspirant type effects.
Yeah,
exile is real nice there.
Oh yeah. Let's move on to Phyrexian Censor. So this is a 3-mana creature, 3/3. It is an uncommon. Each player can't so it's a Phyrexian wizard, which is just a cool smattering of creature types. Each player can't cast more than one non-Phyrexian spell each turn, and non-Phyrexian creatures enter the battlefield tapped. I don't know. I just wanted to point this out because it is a silence kind of effect. Or what's the name of the card? There's a creature card that does something very similar. Yeah, Aethersworn Canonist. So
it's America is also like floating around in some mid-range decks. I think this card's solid. It's a 3-mana 3/3, and if you're playing on the control end, guaranteeing your opponent can't haste you out and can't cast more than one spell, so your counter spells are online. It's fine. It's good.
Oh yeah. I just wanted to point it out because it's not every day we get one of these kind of effects. Obviously, they're around, and I do think probably the Angel of Emeria is probably better, but does a similar thing. All right, moving on. We have Surge of Salvation.
This card's insane.
This card, this here's Magic the Gathering card, folks. Surge of Salvation, beautiful art. 1 white for an instant uncommon. You and permanents you control gain hexproof until end of turn. Prevent all damage that black and or red sources would deal to creatures you control this turn.
White Veil of Summer.
White Veil of Summer doesn't draw a card. Doesn't draw a card, but yeah, this is White Veil Summer for sure. I think this card is absolutely sick.
We have, was it not Blacksmith Skill, and then the other one, Lauren's Escape, which see play in like the Hammer variants. Similar design space. I think this card is just real solid. It'll definitely see play.
Oh yeah, I'm not sure where it'll land, but yeah, it's definitely sick. I do want to talk about Cut Short. I know that wasn't on the list, but I do want to talk about it. It's just real quick. It's common. It's 2 generic and a white for an instant convoke. Destroy target planeswalker that was activated this turn or tapped creature. So this is going to be interesting for creature-based decks to get rid of planeswalkers, and it's or tapped creature. So it didn't have to be attacking, which is interesting. Usually they have that little attacking or blocking caveat for cards like this.
If only there was like a white planeswalker that made vigilance creature tokens.
Yeah, right.
Right. What character would work with vigilance creatures to convoke
Right.
out spells? It'll come to me.
Wandering Emperor. All right. Are we missing it? I feel like we're missing one.
We had Guardian of Gearport, which is a little further up. It's the Flicker Wisp variant. Not a ton to say about it.
Yeah, it was just kind of neat.
It's an angel. It blinks your other angels in the angel mid-range deck, so you can re-trigger your Valkyrie, get extra life.
Yep. That about.
We're nicknaming it Thicker Wisp.
Ooh, I like it. Thicker Wisp. That's great. All right. Next up, we have the blue cards. Let's go. This is where we thrive, right? Maybe. Yeah. I do want to talk first off about Chrome Host Seed Shark.
They got our Shark Typhoon.
Heck yeah. But wait, we have Shark Typhoon at home. 2 generic and a blue for a rare 2/4 Phyrexian Shark. It's got flying. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, incubate X, where X is that spell's mana value. So it is very similar, like you said, to it's like the creature version. It's the Phyrexian creature version of the Shark Typhoon. Yeah. I don't know how much play this is going to see. This is just sick. It's a play on one of Control's best cards, so I figured it might be worth mentioning. What do you think about it, though?
So we have like a handful of cards that do this now. It's like a blue 3-drop that poops out tokens when you cast a non-creature.
Do the thing, yeah.
We had the one from our third Innistrad block, right? The one that made the Decayed Zombies and then turned your tokens into, I think, 3/3s.
Yeah.
This one's nice because it flies and has 4 toughness. So I think it's a little bit better. And the tokens that it makes being non-creatures also kind of nice. You can have like build and wrath protection, like you're not over committing.
Yeah.
I think it's fine.
As Jo said just in chat, creature equals easily removed. That's true, but I mean, come on.
You can't Posage you this creature.
Yeah, there you go. Some upside for it to be a creature. We have next up is Fairy Mastermind. This is Yuta Takahashi's World Championship card that he got for winning the Worlds a couple of years ago. And this card is sick. I think this is going to be sweet in Commander. Probably we'll see playing Standard, but let's go through it real quick. It is a 2 mana, 1 generic and a blue for a Fairy Rogue Rare, 2/1, flash flying. I like those stats. That reminds me of a card. Whenever an opponent draws their second card each turn, you draw a card. And then at 3 colorless and a blue, it has an activated ability of each player draws a card. And Yuta, I mean, they nailed the art on this one. This looks just like Yuta. This is so sick. I'm definitely going to play this. What's that?
Yuta said that he asked for it to be a 1/3 so he can block a Ragavan. And they told him no.
Man, come on. It's more mana, though. Come on.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
This is a legacy card. You cast this and you nuke their Brainstorm. You draw a card off of it. It works really great when you're breaking parity with like a Narset or Leovold. Legacy card.
I absolutely love it. I'm glad that Yuta got a card that would be good. Apparently, he plays a lot of Legacy, so I'm stoked that he gets to play. You played yourself, Yuta. But God,
I am Fairy Mastermind for Mr. Vendilion.
Yes, super stoked. This card's sweet. I'm gonna play this in Commander. I don't play much Legacy or Vintage, but maybe I might. Moving on, we have Rona, Herald of Invasion. I just wanted to point this card out because it is sweet, right? It combos with like everything. But I wanted to point this out because Kethis got a new toy. And Kethis is only played in Historic where
it's still legal.
Where banned cards go to Prosper. And did you know that like Kethis like ran the gauntlet at the most recent Arena Open Championship or whatever the heck.
I did not.
Yeah, there was like 3 decks that were, or 3 Kethis decks in the top 8 for that tournament. $200,000 they gave away at that tournament, and nobody watched it. They had like 5,000 viewers all weekend. Brutal. Anyways, let's talk about this card, Rona, Herald of Invasion. It is 1 generic and a blue for a, is that rare? Yeah,
Yep.
I think it is rare. Legendary creature, human wizard, 1/3. It can block Ragavan. Whenever you cast a legendary spell, untap Rona, Herald of Invasion. Already pretty decent. Tap, draw a card, then discard a card. Are you joking me? And then you can pay 5 and a Phyrexian black to transform it. Yes, it has a backside. Rona, Tolarian Obliterator. It's blue-black hybrid. Trample, 5/5. It is a 5/5 with trample. Whenever a source of damage deals damage to Rona, that source's controller exiles a card from their hand at random. If it's a land card, you may put it onto the battlefield under your control. Otherwise, you may cast it without paying its mana cost. Now, the backside is like extra sauce on top of this amazing taco. Tell me about all the crazy combos this thing does.
So there's a deck, you might have heard of it, right? Underworld Breach.
That deck's pretty good, I guess, in Modern.
This deck that wants to put its stuff in the graveyard, wants to play Mox Amber, and wants to loop the Mox Ambers to generate mana. So Rona gets to loop through your deck while working with your combo, enabling your extra mana engine. It does a very good Emery impression. It costs 2 mana. It's a 1/3, so it can block a Ragavan.
Relevant.
And then it has the upside of, I need to be on a fair game plan. Here, let me just pour all of the extra mana I just generated into a 5/5 beater that quite literally cannot be blocked unless my opponent wants to lose. So Rona's really good. You don't need to flip her, but you get to.
Yeah, right.
I don't know if it goes in over the Ledger Shredder slot in that deck, but I would not be surprised if it did. I think it's very, very strong, and it moves a little bit closer to streamlining the combo and the aggressive parts of that deck, rather than having 2 different halves.
Absolutely. This card's sick. I mean, everything about just from the top to the bottom of this text box is everything I want to do in Magic. And yeah, I'm stoked for this. I'm very stoked for this.
Good. And I'm so happy for her. It took her 3 cards, and she's finally
finally we made it. Rona's here. Yeah, that's a scary sentence.
So I think we had Zephyr Singer and Change the Equation. I don't know which order you want to do.
Yeah, we can talk about Zephyr if you want to talk about it.
Real quick, this card does not do anything you care about on the actual face of the card. It's 2 blue for 3/4 with Convoke, Flying, and Vigilance. You put a flying counter on each thing that convoked it. The important part, those self-mill decks, the ones with the Vengevines and the Hollow Ones, etc., they're playing Hedron Crab, and they're playing all these self-mill creatures that are a single blue pip.
Yeah,
you can convoke those and get a free creature as a way of bringing back those Vengevines. As you can probably tell, I'm a big combo player, and when I see a spell that can be effectively free cast, I listen.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't even think this was like anything, but that's hot. Okay. Change the Equation is a card that I'm super stoked for. Every control player who plays Pioneer, I think. Change the Equation. Let's just talk about it. It is 2 mana, 1 generic and a blue, instant, uncommon. Choose one. Counter target spell mana value 2 or less. Already pretty solid. Counter target red or green spell with mana value 6 or less. Oh, snap. It's 6 or less. I misread this. This card's nuts, y'all.
Yeah.
I thought this card was good off the rip when I thought it was 6 or more. Oh, my God. This card's busted. I am a cotton-headed Ninny Muggins because this card is awesome. Whoo! This card is going to see play in every format.
It's real good.
Every format I care about, at least.
Like, it's a real good hate card.
Is this better than Aether Gust, you think?
Aether Gust can deal with like resolve permanents, but not letting your opponent resolve permanents is also pretty nice.
Yeah. Oh man, this card's gas.
I don't know if it's better or worse, but we'll find out in the first couple weeks, I guess. But this
Yeah.
is definitely a strong card for Pioneer. And if you're expecting to have like a heavy mono green presence in your local Pioneer tournament, you can main deck this in control and be perfectly fine.
Oh yeah. And I mean, it's good against boats. I mean, geez, this card's does it all. And it says target spell, not target non-creature spell. You can counter elves or whatever.
Yeah.
So this card's sweet. Holy smokes. I totally misread this. And I was like, yeah, this card's good. I see why people are talking about it. And then I just read it. And it's on wax. It'll be on this podcast forever. All right. Next up, we have
Change the equation, right? I think we have Meeting of the Minds, which is
that's the draw two.
Yeah. If I had a nickel for every time they printed draw spell with set mechanic at rare and common, and the common was better than the rare, I'd have 2 nickels. This is the Treasure Cruise dig through time situation all over again.
Yep. So this is Meeting of the Minds. It's 4 mana instant. And again, when I read this, I thought it was a sorcery. I was like, whatever. But no, it's an instant. It has Convoke, draw 2 cards. Yeah, this card's sweet. Obviously, I don't think this will do much in older formats, but this will be a good thing in standard.
I'm going to play with my young Peasies in my Iconoclasts.
Ooh, that's true.
My 0 mana draw 2.
You do get, what is that? One with mind?
Yeah.
That card's nuts. That card's nuts.
Yeah. I think this is especially good for, say, Explorer, which doesn't have the Del spells, as opposed to like Pioneer. Being able to just power through your when I cast the thing, make a token type of cards. I think this is the engine builder. I'm real excited for it.
Yeah, it looks sweet. Is that everything?
I feel like we're missing Cyber Cryptomancer, which I don't remember what that one was.
Yeah.
Now I remember. We got it. Scroll.
Oh, there it is. Yeah. Oh yeah, this one just got spoiled.
Yeah, this was in the dump at the end.
Yeah, just kind of randomly adding it on. So this is Cyber Cryptomancer. It's 2 mana, generic in blue. Common 0/1, Moonfolk Ninja, Flash, backup 1, hexproof. And that's that.
So this is a boggle. In Pioneer, you have access to I'm blanking on it's the one from M14, Silverglade Scout. It doesn't matter. Essentially, it's a
Glade Clover Scout. Yeah,
that's the one. So this is a cheap hexproof creature. It has flash, so you can actually use that in backup, which gives the rest of its abilities to another creature until end of turn, plus 1/1 counter.
So you can
for the Aura decks, you get Light Paws, you get SRAM, which are really annoying. Powerful, but they're vulnerable. So this can give those hexproof in response to removal, while also just being a thing you load up the Auras on. You don't care that it's a 1/2 or an 0/1 because you're just piling on a bunch of powerful Auras. This card's nuts.
This card is very good. And being able to give Light Paws and SRAM hexproof to save it, like you said, just very strong.
Put in your Lurrus decks.
Jeez. Moving on to black, we've got an invasion. We have a battle. Invasion of Fiora. Where it
second row.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, there.
So this is a 6 mana, so quite expensive. 4 health. When it enters the battlefield, you may choose one or both. Destroy all legendary creatures or destroy all legendary creatures. When you defeat it, it flips into Marchesa, Resolute Monarch, which is a legendary creature, human noble, 3/6, menace, death touch. When it enters when it attacks, remove all counters from up to 1 target permanent. Yes, that is flipping other battles.
Every battle that she marches into.
This snowballs crazy fast. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you haven't been dealt combat damage since your last turn, you may draw a card. You do draw a card you're going to draw that card and you're going to lose 1 life.
She makes you the monarch.
Yeah. Yes.
Blink it over and over again.
Invasion of Fiora. So front side, I mean, 6 mana to do both of these things. Obviously, it's a little. What was
Crux of Fate?
Crux of Fate was 5 mana, and you got to choose one. So this is pretty much on rate. The loyalty is 4, which I feel is pretty low. And then obviously Marchesa. This could snowball very quickly. I just wanted to talk about it because it's extremely unique. Marchesa is extremely unique.
A 3/6 Menace Death Touch is not dying
ever.
Like it'll connect. It blocks incredibly well, and again, you can blink the front side with anything that can blink target non-land permanent. So you can just keep wrathing their board. Having a board wipe with upside on an ETB trigger is so good.
Oh yeah. So that's Invasion of Fiora. Next up, we have Pylon. I heard you like free spells. All right. Pylon is a 4 mana, 3 generic, 1 black instant rare with Convoke. Destroy target creature or planeswalker, surveil 2. Very easy, very simple. This card's sweet. If you're playing a black deck that happens to play creatures, this card is like the best Doomblade ever.
Mob did this for 5 mana from Modern Horizons 1. So this is cheaper, hits planeswalkers and surveils.
Seems decent.
And also the Pioneer.
Seems decent. Where's this one? Yeah, where'd it go? It's probably down here somewhere. Here it is. Render Inert. 3 mana, 2 generic, 1 black, sorcery, uncommon. Remove up to 5 counters from target. Permanent. Draw a card. The reason, and the art is so sick. The reason I wanted to point this one out is because I find it very refreshing that they are giving us the tools inside of a standard set to deal with the new mechanic. Usually they like to wait a set or two so that we can play with our toys, but oftentimes it just ruins the format. So I'm so happy that they decided, okay, we're going to let you just kill. Basically, this says destroy target battle. Draw a card. So I wanted to point that out. I'm proud of you, Wizards. It's taken forever, but you've finally learned from your mistakes. Mirrodin Avenge. Do you have anything to say about this?
Just
about render.
Yeah. So we'll talk about this later on, but Vampire Hexmage and blank on the name of it. There was a 1 mana artifact creature that you can pay Phyrexian Black and X to remove X counters from a permanent. If you remove all the counters from a battle, it will flip, which you can do by damaging it or just blowing it up like this. So this is win target battle, draw a card.
Yeah, right.
And that's a really interesting thing to have access to. It is a sorcery, so it's not like you can blow them out by, whoops, I flipped this into a creature in combat, eat your guy.
Yeah.
But it's still very, very good.
Very similar to Hex Parasite as well.
That's the card. Thank you.
I do want to talk about Corrupted Conviction. This one got spoiled late too. This is just blanking on the name, but it's an instant common. As an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice a creature, draw 2 cards. Red Black Sacrifice plays this in Pioneer. Now they have 6 of them. I don't know if they want 6 of them, but they have 6 of them.
We now have Village Rights, Corrupted Conviction, and Deadly Dispute.
Oh yeah, they have 9 of them if they want. But yeah, it's basically a reskin of Village Rights, I think.
Yeah, functional.
Moving on to Mirrodin Avenged. This has the sickest art in the set. It is if you haven't seen it and you're listening to the podcast, Mirrodin Avenged has a picture of Karn holding Elshnorn's decapitated head above as a trophy. It is so sick. It is 1 black for a common instant. Sorcery, destroy target creature that was dealt damage this turn, draw a card. Everything just draws.
This is a functional reprint of from Kamigawa Neon Dynasty.
Is it?
Yeah, you are already dead.
Oh, nice. Oh, that's sick. But I just wanted to talk about it because the art is so sick.
It's so good. I love I'm a body horror guy. I love the Phyrexia sets. They're so
They're so
cool.
good for that. Yeah. Corrupted Conviction. Where is that at? I feel like
that was the one we talked about, the Village Rights one.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Did I put that on here twice? No.
No, it's possible we just passed it up. Okay. Red. Moving on to red, as long as you don't have anything else in
I'm good.
black that you want to talk about. I do love I do like always talking about the Planeswalkers because I still like Planeswalkers. I know that they've gotten powered down in most recent sets, but this is Chandra Hope's Beacon. This is a 6 mana, 4 generic, 2 red for Mythic 5 loyalty. It does have a passive ability because, those never get out of control. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, copy it. You may choose new targets for the copy. This ability triggers only once each turn. Boo!
You got to be fair about it.
It'd be insane, yeah. But for 6 mana, I mean, come on, you should win the game, right? Anyways, +2, add 2 mana in any combination of colors. First time that she's been able to do that. +1, exile the top 5 cards of your library until the end of turn. Until the end of your next turn, you may cast an instant or sorcery from among them, exiled this way. And then -X, it deals X damage to each of up to 2 targets. I don't know. It's very expensive. I don't know if this will see play, but I always like talking about it. The art's sweet. Kieran Yanner is a very, very good artist. Mm-hmm. I love Magic and the art.
I love Kieran. So one thing I do want to point out about this card, it's kind of a throwback to Pyromancer's Goggles. Were you playing during Shadows of Innistrad?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So that deck functioned by copying your Tormenting Voice variants, right? So you discard a card and then you draw 4.
Mm-hmm.
Chandra has that as a static ability. Her +1 can find those effects. Right now we have Big Score, which is already seeing play as kind of a way to cast an Atraxa. The +2 is also a way of getting the mana to cast your Atraxa.
Yeah.
And then the -X. So this is kill a thing, kill you, or kill 2 of your things. And then -4, blow up 2 creatures or creature planeswalker. And then I keep my Chandra around to tick up.
Yeah.
That's pretty nice. And it works really well with that Big Score because you can jump from 4 to 6 mana off the Big Score and then just slam the Chandra. Yeah. And then it works in the other direction too. So having that flexibility is interesting. I don't know if it's going to see play, but being the top end of a big red deck.
Yeah.
We have Koth too. You can hit that mana cost.
Oh, yeah. I do find it interesting that her -X allows you to break up the damage. That's the first time a Planeswalker, at least to my knowledge, has been able to break up their damage like an electrolyzed type effect. So.
Oh, no, it deals X damage to both. That's 8 damage if you want to -4.
Deals X damage to each. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's insane. That's
she
nuts.
Comes in pseudo rats.
I can't read, but that's awesome.
To be fair, the art's covering half of it.
All right. Next up, we have Invasion of Tarkir. This is a battle. This is a mythic battle. So whenever I see mythics of new card types, some red flags start going off. Some
cheap ones too. It's 2 mana.
2 mana, yeah. So it's generic, 1 generic and a red for a 5 health. When it enters the battlefield, I think you may reveal the thing is you may reveal
damage plus however many dragons you have in your hand.
Yeah. So this card's nuts. And then it flips into a dragon, Defiant Thundermaw. This is a 4 mana, or I'm sorry, this is a 4/4 flying trample. Whenever a dragon you control attacks, it deals 2 damage to any target. I'm so stoked for this. I played Red Green Dragons on stream today.
Oh yeah.
The deck was super sweet. This card is going to be a staple in that deck. Obviously, that deck's not tier 1 or anything, but it's a fun deck to play. I'm super stoked to play this with Ojutai and Zurgo in a Jeskai version. And yeah, this card is really good, I think.
I know you said we're not talking about like arena only formats.
Oh no,
But
we can. Yeah, we can.
the dragon deck in alchemy / historic, there are a handful of cards that are like pretty nice. They make your spells cost less, and they start like blowing up your opponent's lands and wiping the text off of them. And then the rest are just like aggressive haste creatures. So this card naturally will work really well in that kind of shell. It gives you another 2-drop to play. You're already doing Dragon Whelp and Orb of Dragonkind. So having a 2-mana fireball that can remove any blocker and then your haste things just kind of power through. I really like that. I think this card's strong. I'm not like jumping out of my seat for what is in most situations going to be like a Omen of the Forge, but still it's an efficient removal spell that flips into a creature that's going to finish the game.
Oh yeah.
The backside, is it 2 damage if it's all of your dragons attacking, or is it 2 damage for each dragon?
Whenever damage you control attacks. So
that's each dragon.
That stacks, yeah.
Okay, that's real good.
Yep.
And if you have something like Glorybringer, you can pretty easily flip this and then get the creature.
Oh yeah. Yeah, moving on, we're going to talk about our first Praetor, because in my opinion, this is the best Praetor in the set.
Yeah. Finally, Urabrask gets the best card in the cycle.
Yeah. Urabrask has been done dirty 2 times previous to this. And finally, Urabrask is getting what he deserves. This is Urabrask, no other name. 4 mana, 2 generic, 2 red for a mythic 4/4 legendary creature Phyrexian Praetor. It has first strike, and whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, it deals 1 damage to target opponent. Add 1 red mana. We could stop there. This card is good. I like it. I was looking at Caleb Shearer's Twitter, and he thinks this is a very, very possible to be a player in Giftstorm in Modern, because that deck needs some help. That deck, the Horizon sets were not kind to Giftstorm. If you guys follow my content, I love playing Giftstorm when I'm not playing control decks. So I'm super stoked for this. It does also have a second ability. You can tap red, exile Urabrask, return it flipped. Activate this ability only if you cast 3 or more sorceries or instants this turn. And then the backside, like all the other Praetors in this cycle, it flips into a saga. So the first saga, when you flip it, it just deals 3 damage to all your opponent's creatures.
And 3 damage to them, right?
And 3 damage to them, which is super relevant. Second chapter is create 3 treasure tokens. And then the third chapter, until the end of turn, you may cast instant and sorcery spells from your graveyard. If a spell this way, it gets exiled. And then you get to flip it back into Urabrask. Every piece of this card works with Storming Off. This card is great. I love it. This might be my favorite card in the set.
And there are those Storm decks, right?
Yeah. So Bergie is what this card would be replacing. And instead of having to choose between Bergie or the other side of Bergie, I think it's a Helm, you just get both. And in the corner case scenarios where you aren't going to finish them off, you just finish them off now, because you don't need to actually storm to 20, because your rituals and all of your cards that are going to find everything are just pinging them and making mana the whole way up the ladder. I'm so stoked for this card.
4 toughness is so much more than 3.
Oh yeah, especially in Modern.
And first strike on a 4-power creature is so nice. All your 1 mana red cantrips, all the ones that are like, this thing gets haste, draw a card. This thing gets trample, draw a card.
Yeah.
All of those become functionally free.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can cycle through the whole deck.
Yeah. I'm stoked for Urabrask.
Yeah.
$28. Whew.
That's for the base game, not like the 17 other
right?
they put in the set.
All right, next up is Into the Fire. 3 mana, 2 generic, 1 red for a rare sorcery. Choose one. Into the Fire deals 2 damage to each creature, planeswalker, and battle. So, again, kudos Wizards for actually having some hate pieces for your new mechanic. Put any number of cards from your hand on the bottom of your library, then draw that many. This card's sweet.
I think it's nice. It kind of marries two very different versions of like cards that already exist. Like we have Valakut's Awakening. We have what's the Vampire Wrath effect? 2 damage to all non-vampires and make a blood token. Like those cards are all seen playing standard. I think this card is nice. It's fine. Being able to put like mobile spells in your deck means that you get more slots to do other things with. I think it's good.
Yeah, I'm stoked for it. I mean, I'm not like jumping out of my seat for it, but I'm glad that something like this exists in the set. Yeah. Next up, we have Nahiri's Warcrafting. This is a rare, 3 mana, 1 generic, 2 red. It deals 5 damage to target creature, planeswalker, or battle. Look at the top X cards of your library, where X is the excess damage dealt. This way, you may exile one of those cards, put the rest onto the bottom of your library in a random order. You may play the exile card this turn. Just a very interesting. I like how they're doing these instants and sorceries with trample, kind of. Yeah, super unique design space here. I know there's a card in Historic or Alchemy or whatever that any excess, it's a very similar thing where it deals 5 damage, and any excess, the next instant or sorcery you cast deals that much damage to a creature or planeswalker. Yeah. So very similar to that. Do you have any words on Nahiri's Warcrafting?
It's a decent card that can kill a Shieldred. I think that's what you really need it to be able to do. I think the card's fine. It reminds me of what was the spell from Kaldheim? For each like snow mana you pay into it, you get that much mana back.
Oh, I'm terrible with card names, but I do remember it.
9 times out of 10, this is going to kill like a 3 toughness creature. You look at your top 2 cards, you can get a cheap burn spell or probably land and play it.
Yep. Not too shabby. Next up, I hate this card with the passion of everything in my being. Rampaging Raptor. It's a 4 mana, 2 generic, 2 red creature, dinosaur, rare, 4/4. It has trample, haste, 2, and it has an activated ability of 2 generic and a red. Rampaging Raptor gets +2/+0 until end of turn. And then we have the Questing Beast text that says whenever it deals combat damage to an opponent, it deals that much damage to target planeswalker that player controls or battle that player protects. Why?
I love that they saw that like it's a dinosaur that's close enough to dragons. Might as well give it fire breathing.
Yeah, it's pseudo fire breathing. This card's so good.
It's really, really good. It's not going to line up super well against Shieldred and Pioneer Standard, but I think this card's just
this is a sweet
in
card.
every other situation.
All hate and disdain I have for this card aside, this card's sweet, and it looks awesome. The art really is super good. Alrighty, moving on. I know there was one red card they had just spoiled not too long ago, but I do want to talk.
Was right next to it. I think we wanted to talk about that too, right?
Oh, this?
Yeah, that's the fling a thing, or it's just.
Oh yeah. So does this combo with Multani?
Yargle and Bargle?
Yeah, they did it again. They put the combo in the same set. So this is Valdarian Thrillseeker, 3 mana, so 2 generic and a red for a creature or vampire or warrior. Rare. It's a 1/1 and has backup 2. You can pay a colorless, sacrifice this creature. It deals damage equal to its power. So basically, you can back up your Multani and Yargle and then fling it at their face. GG, nice. Thanks for playing. I like it.
I think this card just it's good. It has relevant creature types. It's a vampire and a warrior. It's a 3/3 if you want it to be, and a lightning bolt, and it does all the things you want. And you can fling say you're 2-drop and limited. after it's no longer useful. You make it into a 4-drop or a 4-power creature, and you flunge.
And I like how these Voldarins, apparently they really like having that, doing that move. Because Olivia Voldarin, the original Olivia Voldarin, did that pose as well. I wanted to talk about Invasion of Mercadia. This is a 2-mana battle. It is colorless, or rather generic, and red for 4 health. When it enters the battlefield, you may discard a card. If you do, draw 2 cards. That's the part I wanted to talk about, but it does flip into Kieran Flimeright, which is a 3/3. It has an activated ability of 2 generic and a red. Tap it, discard a card, create 2 1/1 blue and red elemental creature tokens. Creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain haste until end of turn. But the front side is what I wanted to talk about. This is sick. It enables all graveyard shenanigans. I think I don't know if it's going to actually see play in Phoenix or anything like that, but it definitely could. And the fact that it's a new card type, who knows?
It's another card that has Cathartic Reunion kind of text.
Yeah.
Works for Dredge and works for your Yorion decks. They're already playing Bitter Reunion.
Yep. I like it. Moving on. We have Stoke the Flames is back. Definitely wanted to talk about that. Just mention it. Stoke the Flames, 4 mana, 2 generic, 2 red for a instant convoke. Stoke the Flame deals 4 damage to any target, so that is a way to get rid of battles as well if you're thinking about standard or limited. Good to see it back too.
It's such a good card. It's
great. I think there was one other that got spoiled after we made our list, but maybe not.
Ren's Resolve, I definitely wanted to talk about, and Volcanic Spite, which were the dumps. They were at the very end of this section.
There they are. Yep.
So Ren's Resolve is I'm blanking on the name of it. Reckless Impulse, I think. 1 a red, exile the top 2 cards of your library until at the end of your next turn you can play those cards.
Very solid.
It's a 2 mana red, draw 2, and we now have 8 copies of them that you can play in basically any format.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one is Volcanic Spite. Yeah. Fire Prophecy, right?
Oh, yeah.
The card was in Reed Duke's Pro Tour winning deck. So this is 1 a red for an instant, deal 3 damage to target creature, planeswalker, or battle. You can then put a card from your hand on the bottom of your library if you do draw a card. So this works in the Pioneer Creativity deck because they want to Indomitable Creativity for their combo piece, but they never want to draw it.
Yeah.
So this puts it back in the deck. Notably, though, Fire Prophecy, the card that already has this ability, only hits creatures, which means every burn spell that Creativity plays, with the exception of Spikefield Hazard, cannot hit planeswalkers. So this actually can deal with Wandering Emperors that have resolved. This can deal with Teferis. This is such a major upgrade.
This is a big upgrade, yeah. Yeah, this card's sweet. I don't know what the heck is going on. I guess that's a ship, and it's being hit by the molten lava fallout from the volcano.
It's the Ashen Idol without offering an edict fortuitously absent from Phyrexian's intelligence concerning the word of Asgul. I'm not sure which one Asgul is, but
somebody's getting messed up.
Art distinctly worse than Fire Prophecy, but I'll take it.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
I think there were 2 more cards one more card we wanted to talk about, right? Bloodfeather Phoenix. I think it's at the very top of the section.
Yep.
Yeah.
There it is. Take it away.
2 mana, 2/2 flying, can't block. When an instant or sorcery spell you control deals damage to an opponent or a battle, you can pay a red. If you do, return it from the graveyard to the battlefield, gains haste. Real simple. You bolt their face, you get your creature back.
Right?
This card's very good. We have Phoenix Chick that does something similar, but the conditions to get it back are a lot harder. Yeah. This is I think we have Arclight Phoenix, so that's the top Phoenix, but I want to say this is number 2. And it's not really close for number 3.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah. It's good. On to green.
All right, on to green. We've got maybe the most polarizing card in the set. I want to talk about Rin and Realm Breaker.
Mhm.
Oh man, the first time I read this card, I was like, this card's busted. How could they print this nonsense? It's so good. I hate it. And then I read it again. I was like, oh, it's pretty good. And then I read it again and I was like, all right, it's fine. I don't really care about this anymore. All right, so Rin and Realm Breaker is a 3-mana planeswalker. It is 1 generic and 2 green for 4 loyalty. It has a chromatic lantern effect as a passive, so your lands tap for any color mana. It's +1, up to 1 target land you control becomes a 3/3 elemental creature with vigilance and hexproof and haste until end of turn. It's still a land. -2, mill 3 cards. You may put a permanent card from among the milled cards into your hand, and then -7, you get an emblem. You may play lands and cast permanent spells from your graveyard. The first time I read this, I thought it untapped the land.
Yeah, no.
The second time I read this, I then realized that you cannot use the middle ability to get any of the cards in your graveyard. It has to be from among the ones you milled with said ability. With that being said, this card's fine, I think. It's fine.
It's
What-
mid.
Yeah, it's fine. It's mid. That's
We're
what the
not
kids
going
would
to see
say,
it
right?
after this set. Like, no one's going to remember this card. Ren is my favorite planeswalker, and it's not close. This card
Yeah.
sucks.
I thought it untapped the creature, and I thought that again, this goes back to my reading and comprehension skills. Not great. I said that at the top of the cast.
This is like an overfixed War Nissa,
Yeah, right.
and it's
This,
not good.
no, it's pretty fine, is what I'll say.
We're going to take 2 amazing characters that I want to have in every deck I want to play and never play this card.
Yep. It'll be good in a draft, I bet.
Not to go out of order, but I do want to talk about Invasion of Chandler real quick.
Yeah.
Because I keep going back to the whole, we keep blinking these battles and we win. This is 3 green for a siege battle. All the ones in the set have siege. 4 defense counters. Enters the battlefield. Return up to 3 permanents from your graveyard to your hand. That's nuts.
It's a lot of permanents. And then it flips.
Oh, and it flips. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may put a permanent from your hand onto the battlefield. So if you were able to flip this card, you drop an Omniscience into play. Or you drop your Emrakul or your Vorinclex or whatever. You do it. It reminds me of Seasons Past a little bit.
Ooh, yeah.
Generate such an immense value in your big dumb green deck, and your opponent just can't keep up.
The backside is like a Crucible World, but for all your permanents. Yeah, this card's sweet.
Did we want to talk about the Ancient Imperiosaur or like the meme with it?
I don't know the meme. If you want.
This is a 7-mana 6/6 with Trample, Ward 2, Convoke, and it enters the battlefield with 2 1/1 counters for each creature that convoked it. So if you cast it for 7 mana with no Convoke, it's a 6/6. And if you cast it tapping 1 creature, 8/8, and then you go up the chain. And if you cast it for free, it's a 20/20 Trample, Ward 2. That's the meme. That's the joke.
Give this thing haste, and we're off to the races. Or pair it with the other card that we talked about. Is that just the deck? You're playing like Jund memes, and you're just trying to sacrifice these cards to kill them, to like one-shot them?
I will certainly try.
Pelucranos Reborn is one card that I had, and here it is. Pelucranos Reborn. The reason I want to talk about this is because it's triple green, so 3 green pips there. It is a legendary creature, Hydra rare, 4/5. It has reach, and you can flip it for 6 and a Phyrexian white. Transform Pelucranos Reborn, activated only as a sorcery, and then it flips into Pelucranos Engine of Ruin. So poor Pelucranos got, not only did he get he got reborn because he died at the end of, but they brought him back. They did the whole Elspeth thing, and then hey, bro, you're reborn, but here you're now corrupted. It's a 6/6.
The flavor text is like, I'm so happy to be back.
Yeah, right? Poor Pelucranos. It's got reach and lifelink whenever Pelucranos, Engine of Ruin, or another non-token Hydra you control dies. Create a 3/3 green and white Phyrexian Hydra creature token with reach, and a 3/3 green and white Phyrexian Hydra token with life link. This is like Worm Coil Engine, baby.
This card's good. It hits the pips. It's a 4/5 with reach. Notably, mono green and Pioneer has a bit of a flyers problem. The only thing that can block is Cavalier. So you slot this in and sure, and then it flips, and you have the mana to be able to flip that pretty reliably.
Yeah, so I've heard people talking about this taking Old Growth Troll's spot. The thing with that though is when Old Growth Troll dies, it gets almost better. So I don't know if that's the case, but I assume that mono green Devotion pilots will try this. So if you're playing on Moto, be on the lookout for this because, yeah, I mean, getting the backside of this thing is no joke.
I feel like the first Polycranis is better than the fourth Old Growth, but I would rather the 4 Old Growths.
Yeah.
So maybe one of the other flex slots. You don't really have that many left, but I think like one copy of this makes sense.
Yeah. Next up, we have Tribute to the World Tree. This is another triple green enchantment. This is rare. When a creature enters the battlefield under your control, draw a card if its power is 3 or greater. Otherwise, put 2 +1/+1 counters on it. I hate this card. This is like the opposite of what I love about Magic.
It draws cards.
That's true. But like I have to play creatures, man. Pish posh.
The one weakness in the mono green deck is that you run 8 copies of Lana World variants. And so this makes those not have terrible bodies.
That's true.
And it makes all the other stuff cantrip. So I think it's solid. I don't know if we play it over Cura because the untap's really important, but
yeah,
it's pretty good.
Atraxa's Fall. I just want to point this out because again, I want to tip my cap to Wizards and say they did a thing with destroying battles. So this is 2 mana sorcery common, destroy target artifact, battle, enchantment, or creature with flying. And the art is amazing. It is all these like villagers of whatever plane this is on.
New Capenna. The Jund folks are the like construction workers. They dropped a full building on her.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's so awesome. She dies.
Spire of Industry just came.
Exactly. With a shield counter. I am Atraxa. Please insert girder.
The art is just these riveteers. That's their name.
Yeah.
And Atraxa just has a spike through her body. Poor Atraxa. We barely knew ye.
My favorite part about that story too. I don't know if you like followed any of the lore for it. Atraxa goes to New Capenna, and she's like 4 colors and not red, and red's the color of emotion and art.
Yeah.
She goes into a museum and has like a full conniption because there's so much like art and beauty, and she's like, no, and she has like a midlife crisis with all this postmodern art. So she starts tearing down paintings and knocking over statues.
That's awesome.
Completely unrelated to the invasion. She just like goes on a field trip.
Next up, I want to talk about Invasion of Ikoria. This is a 6 defense X green rare battle siege. When it enters the battlefield, search your library and or graveyard for a non-human creature card with mana value X or less. Put it onto the battlefield. If you search your if you search your library, shuffle. That's pretty sweet off the rip. And then it flips into Ziltortha, Apex of Ikoria. This is an 8. This is an 8/8 with reach. For each non-human creature you control, you may have that creature assign its combat damage as though it weren't blocked. So the backside is like whatever, right? But I don't know. I think the front side's pretty sweet.
So 2 interesting things here, right? This is basically Finale Devastation, but that card gets to search out or X = 0, get Asmeranda Car, whatever the thing is from On Horizons 2.
Yeah, Asmo.
But Asmo is a human, so this is intentionally anti-Asmo tech.
Right.
But you can get Vampire Hex Mage. So for 4 mana, you get this. You top the invasion, you get your Zalortha. So it's a 4 mana 8/8 that functionally can't be blocked.
We gotta try that. I'm gonna try that on stream. That's hilarious. I gotta try all these like Hex Mage variants.
Yeah. Also, that character on the back was the Buy a Box promo with the Godzilla art that never actually got its like real official card version. So
Wow.
it got its creature. I think that this is one of the best battles we've seen.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
even aside the shenanigans with Hex Mage and all that, I think this is exactly what green decks want to do, or so I've been told.
Notably, it also like you can play this in the mono green Pioneer deck. Like for 3 mana, it's 3 loyalty and a mana dork, which means that you can on the following turn cast your Storm the Festival.
Yeah. Moving on, right next to it is Invasion of Ixalan. This is a rare 2 mana, 1 colorless, and a green. Battle Siege with 4 defense. When it enters the battlefield, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal. What is that? A permanent?
I think it's Artifact, Enchantment, Land Battle.
From among.
I'm going to bring this up on another screen.
From among them. Yeah, it's so hard to read because the flip. From among them, put them onto the battlefield. Put the rest on the bottom of your library. I just wanted to talk about that because it's you're digging pretty deep there. It flips into Belligerent Regisaur, 4/3 with trample. Whenever you cast a spell, Belligerent Regisaur gains indestructible until end of turn.
Oh, so it does find any permanent.
Yeah, that's pretty hot. 5 is a lot of cards. 5 is a lot of cards. And obviously, if you flip it, it's all gravy. But I think these battle cards, there's something to them.
Yeah. I think that having the backside's nice. Like, it's not the priority for the back, but it's just good. The front side's the important part here.
Oh, yeah.
And we have the Ozolith right next to it, too.
Yeah. Where's they spoiled this more recently, but Ozolith, the Shattered Spire, 1 in a G, legendary artifact rare. If 1 or more +1/+1 counters would be put onto an artifact or creature you control, that many. Wait, you control
+1/+1/+1 counters. It's
instead.
hard.
And then you can tap a green and a colorless, tap it, put a +1/+1 counter on target artifact or creature you control. Activate this only as a sorcery, and it has cycling for some reason.
Oh, because it's legendary. So unlike your hardened scales where you can have multiple copies, this can't stack, but it's fine because your extra ones can cycle.
Yeah.
But not only is it like the engine, but it puts the things on. Like your doubler.
So nuts.
Yeah, it's real good.
I've said it before. I've said it again. Green gets everything.
Scales is a good deck, and this made it better.
Yep. I have Invasion of Chandalar, but I'm not even seeing that card.
That was the first one, the
okay.
permanents.
Oh, yeah. That's right. And you added that. That's why I was there. Okay. Last, but certainly not least, it's been like 20 years, but they finally completed the Sword of X and Y cycle. This is Sword of Once and Future. It is a 3 mana mythic rare artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has protection from blue and black. Whenever an equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, surveil 2, then you may cast an instant or sorcery spell with mana value 2 or less from your graveyard without paying its mana cost. If that spell would be put into the graveyard, exile it instead. It has the equip cost of 2. Finally, they completed the cycle.
Sword of Dreadhorde Arcanist.
Yeah, no joke. The ability, I think people are tripping. I think the ability is actually cracked. I know Mission Briefing was a failed card, but you had to spend the mana to cast the thing. This just lets you do it, like Dreadhorde Arcanist. If swords are seeing play in Pioneer, which they are in the boats deck, and in other green decks, why not? Obviously, you don't play many instants and sorceries, but I think that for the new cycle of swords, obviously, Sword of Fire and Ice, Sword of Feast and Famine, War and Peace, those are like untouchable, right? Those are just like the best ones. But this one's probably the best one of the newer ones, right?
I think red green is really really good. I think this is definitely like in your top half. That being said, like the swords have not aged well.
No,
overall.
yeah, just the rate is rough.
So, fun fact: Once in Future is actually the name of a card. It's a green regrowth variant in Eldraine. So
That's funny.
Remember that like ability: if you paid 3 mana of the same color, you get like a supercharged version. It's a 4 mana regrowth, and then puts another card on top of your deck. Otherwise, you just double regrowth.
Yeah.
Kind of love it. I don't know why they went with this name, but sure.
Yeah.
Pro Black's cool. Pro Blue is all right. A lot of creatures.
Pro Blue's fine. Yeah. That is a Sword of Once and Future. Do you want to talk about Invasion of Ravnica? Because I feel like because it's mythic.
It's a 5 mana siege with 4 defense. Enters the battlefield. You can exile a non-land permanent that is not exactly 2 colors. And then it flips into a 5/5. When you cast a spell that is exactly 2 colors, look at the top 6 cards of your library. You can reveal a card from among them that is exactly 2 colors. Put in your hand, rest on the bottom. It's a colorless kill spell. You'll play it in your your Kozilek commander deck, and no one will remember this card in 3 months.
Yep. I think the fact that it's mythic, though, they're afraid of pricing removal spells that are sieges. You know, like if this was 3 mana, we'd be talking about it a little bit more. But it is not. We are not. That's everything, though. The land cycle in this set is just some common, like, gain a life tapped lands, which is not very exciting. There are some really cool full arts, which I feel like they do that every set now, so that's not really super exciting anymore. But I guess you get what you asked for. I'm probably on record saying they just need to do full arts all the time, and here they are, and I'm griping about it.
I do love that they work the Phyrexian symbol into each of these.
Oh, yeah.
Like, even like...
Yeah, the art's beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I can never be happy. Whatever.
they look nice.
They look great. Magic's awesome. Is there anything else you want to say to the fine folks before we call it a podcast?
Oh no, it's a pretty powerful set. I'm really happy with it. I think that backup is a great mechanic and could theoretically work into future sets. There's a lot to love here, and a lot of archetypes that might be not tier 1 that are getting some love.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm super excited to start brewing here.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm stoked to as you said, start brewing probably in Pioneer. Pioneer to me feels like how Modern did in like 2013. I'm super stoked for it. Thank you everyone for watching. If you're watching live, I appreciate you over on twitch.tv/lessalex. If you're watching this after the fact on YouTube, make sure to like it, comment, and subscribe. What's your favorite card from the new set? Let me know down below. And if you're listening on the podcast apps, thank you for downloading it. Head on over to either Apple Podcasts or on Spotify. Give me a 5-star review over there. Leave a couple kind words. It goes far. And of course, if you want to help support the content, head on over to patreon.com/lessalex. That's where you can give me all your money and I can help, further the content, get better mics, better lighting, all that fun stuff. Thank you everybody for watching. This is Adam Cohen. If you want to tell them where they can find you on the internet.
You can find me on Twitter at Adam E. Cohen, all one word, no spaces, and on Twitch at AceXSpades. No spaces there either. Thank you, everybody, and thank you, Alex.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. We'll have to do this again. And until the next one, keep spreading that Azorius propaganda, and I will see you all in the next one, Control Freaks. Adios.